first decision that I have made, and was alluded to last night in the Senate chamber, is that I have made the decision to extend the Corona supplement payment to youth allowance student and apprentices. I've done this morning in recognition of the fact that many students, particularly those that support themselves, also have incomes from casual work to support their study. These are the kinds of people, for instance, people from the regions who go to the city to study to become doctors and nurses and teachers, who find themselves having to rely on their own incomes to support themselves through study while the government provides them with the study allowance. It also might be older people coming back into the workforce who would like to do some study, and they may have families. So we have taken the decision overnight, and I'm announcing this morning that we will be spending that payment to students who are on youth allowance student and apprentices. So this is, I think this is great news for our young Australians, and in recognition that they too are likely to be severely impacted by the coronavirus as jobs are lost, particularly in our tourism and hospitality area, where many of these younger people tend to be finding jobs to supplement their income. So good news today, I think, for students.
So most households require two incomes nowadays to service a mortgage. Can you walk us through what happens now if someone loses their job, there's another income in the family, how can you go about what's the cut-off point for accessing the payments now if you've got a spouse with another role?
Okay, at the moment, the cut-off for people not being able to receive the $550 a fortnight coronavirus supplement is around $1,850 a fortnight. But as I've just described, the powers that were awarded to me last night through regulation for the next 9 months, they sunset on the 30th of December, so it is very focused and targeted only for this period, will enable me to make changes to that should I decide to do so. But at the moment, for a single person with no dependents, it's $1,850. But of course, anybody who is eligible for $1 of payment, or their spouse is eligible for $1 of payment, will also be eligible for all of the other benefits that people who are on Social Security are able to access. That could include rental assistance, it could include family tax benefit at its maximum rate, and all the other allowances that are available to Australians who are on Social Security payments.
To get these payments,
yeah, Andrew?
you have to register in the first place. It's been really chaotic since.
Yes.
Queues longer today than they were yesterday. I spoke to one fellow who said that this notion that you can do it all online is a falsehood. He managed to get through at 3 o'clock this morning. When he got to the final stage, they said you have to present photo ID to a Centrelink. Now, how can this be resolved so that you don't have thousands, tens of thousands of people who might be eligible but don't get paid for weeks?
It's a really good point, and I'm glad you asked the question. Yesterday, Centrelink made changes so that you are no longer required to attend a Centrelink site to provide proof of identity, which is what you're referring to. Yesterday, the changes came into place, which require you only to provide proof of identity over the phone. So you can ring up any of our Centrelink call centres. You can say, identify yourself. We will not require you to provide any physical demonstration. We will only require you to actually advise us, and we'll take your word for it, understanding these are exceptional circumstances and we don't want people attending Centrelink sites in person. They will then give you a validation that says, yes, you are who you say you are on the basis of what you've said, and then you can go online and register through MyGov, or equally, if you don't want to do that, you can remain on the phone and you can actually do your registration on the phone. So we'd be saying to anybody who has not ever had any contact with Centrelink before, who is going to require a verification of who you are, and obviously we take people verifying their identity very seriously, you can now do it by a very simple process, by ringing up and just providing information that we will accept verbally, that you are who you are, and then you'll be able to undertake your application online.
Has that information actually been put onto the website so that people can understand that?
Well, I'm assuming so. I mean, I've been speaking to my colleague, Minister Robert, who's responsible for government services this morning, about making sure that we are staying ahead of the demand and staying ahead of any of the issues that are raised with us as this process rolls out. He has assured me that the information is there, and he's also just advised me that We saw yesterday a complete overload of our system because we had 100,000 people trying to be on the system at one time. They have increased the capacity to 150,000 at any one time as of today. And this morning we had 123,000 people on the MyGov website, and the site was still operating and operating much more quickly than it was yesterday.
Can you explain, though, Minister, how the government stuffed this up so comprehensively and left those people with gross indignity of standing out in their local communities for 4 and 5 hours, snaking around the blocks waiting to see someone? How did the government not anticipate the demand on the system that would be caused by the actions to close down these businesses?
Well, I wouldn't accept your categorisation. What I would say is there's been a number of factors that have played into the increased demand spike that we saw yesterday. Obviously, the rapid escalation on Sunday when we saw a number of changes by the federal government and the state government that escalated the people yesterday finding themselves in a position when they went to work in the morning that they no longer had a job. The other thing that would be great to get out to people, and that is that we're seeing a lot of misinformation on social media, telling people to go and do things that aren't correct. And so what I'd say is truth test anything that you see on social media. Truth test it, with the media that are in this room, who credible media. Go onto a website, a government website, whether it be the MyGov website or the australia.gov.au website, and truth test what you're seeing on social media, because I think that a lot of people have been led to believe things that aren't true because of what they've seen. But we have certainly understand that yesterday was an extraordinary spike in the number of people that were looking to use the service, and overnight Sunday night. But I mean, we've been working on this for months. But overnight Sunday night we increased capacity. Yesterday we put another 5,000 people on to meet the demand. This is an unprecedented situation. It is moving very rapidly. It is moving unpredictably, and we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we keep ahead so that we can minimise the impact that we are seeing on Australians.